This teaching how to never get sick, 60 things to know to be convinced, will take you through the rabbit hole of the lies of Big Pharma. Let's go. Are you not still convinced? Wendoin. Not convinced that pasteurized and homogenized milk is deadly? Not convinced that you should only be eating organic, raw, unpasteurized, and unhomogenized dairy products? Then read Homogenized Milk May Cause Your Heart Attack. The X0 Factor by Kurt A. Oster, MD. And How It Can Destroy Your Arteries, Your Heart, Your Life. Don't Drink Your Milk by Frank A. Oski, MD. New frightening medical facts about the world's most overrated nutrient. Watch Milk. The Deadly Poison by Robert Cohen. 2. Not convinced that aspartame, NutraSweet, and monosodium glutamate, MSG, are deadly and should never be consumed. Then read Aspartame, NutraSweet, Is It Safe? By H.J. Roberts, MD. Extitotoxins, The Taste That Kills by Russell L. Blaylock, MD. How monosodium glutamate, aspartame, NutraSweet, and similar substances can cause harm to the brain and nervous system, and their relationship to neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, and others. In Bad Taste, The MSG Symptom Complex by George R. Schwartz, MD. 3. Not convinced that you have a candida yeast overgrowth causing all types of medical problems including excess weight, arthritis, depression, PMS, acne, migraines, stress, constipation, bloating, skin rashes, and more? Then read A Life Force by Jeffrey S. McCombs, D.C. A Dynamic Plan for Health, Vitality, and Weight Loss. 4. Not convinced that subtle energy therapies can cure virtually all disease. Then read In Sanctuary by Stephen Lewis and Evan Slauson, The Path to Consciousness. Vibrational Medicine by Richard Gerber, MD. The #1 Handbook of Subtle Energy Therapies. AEG Energy Medicine, The Scientific Basis of Bioenergy Therapies by Candace Pert, Ph.D. 5. Not convinced that food additives are a leading cause of illness? Then read Hard to Swallow by Doris Sargent and Karen Evans, The Truth About Food Additives. 6. Not convinced the food industry is purposely creating foods that make you physically addicted, increase your appetite, make you fat, and give you disease. Then read Fast Food Nation. The Dark Side of the All-American Meal by Eric Schlosser. Oibidu Makers by Carol Simon Taki. How the food industry is destroying our brains and harming our children. Genetically Engineered Food, Changing the Nature of Nature by Martin Teitel, Ph.D. And Kimberly A. Wilson, What You Need to Know to Protect Yourself, Your Family, and Our Planet. Food Politics by Marion Nessel. How the Food Industry Influences Nutrition and Health. Restaurant Confidential by Michael F. L. Jacobson, Ph.D. Think a chicken Caesar salad is perfect for your diet? Think again. Choose a tuna sandwich over the roast beef sandwich? Wrong. The startling truth about our favorite foods from our favorite restaurants, with fat, calorie, and salt content. Unnamed by Greg Kritzer. How Americans Became the Fattest People in the World. 7. Not convinced that vaccines are deadly, cause disease, and should never be used? Then read A Shot in the Dark by Harris L. Well, Coulter and Barbara Lowe Fisher. Why the P in the DPT vaccination may be hazardous to your child's health. Vaccines. Are they really safe and effective? By Neil Z.D. Miller, What Your Doctor May Not Tell You About Children's Vaccinations by Stephanie Cave, MD, FAFP, with Deborah Mitchell. Dean. Not convinced that cancer can be cured without drugs and surgery? Then read A Cancer Cure That Worked. 50 Years of Suppression by Barry Lyons, You the Cancer Conspiracy by Barry Lyons, How to Fight Cancer and Win by William L. Fisher, Scientific Guidelines and Documented Facts for the Successful Treatment and Prevention of Cancer and Other Related Health Problems. Oi the Bruce Cancer Cure by Rudolph Bruce. Advice for the Prevention and Natural Treatment of Cancer, Leukemia and Other Seemingly Incurable Diseases. The Cancer Industry by Ralph W. A. Moss, Ph.D. The Classic Exposé on the Cancer Establishment. Me the Cure for All Cancers by Hulda Regehr Clark, Ph.D., N.D. New research findings show there is a single cause for all cancers. This book provides exact instructions for their cure. 1. The Healing of Cancer, The Cures, The Cover-Ups and the Solution, now by Barry Lyons. 9.0. Not convinced that stress causes your body to become acidic, and when handled, that virtually all diseases can be cured. Then read, I Stress, The Silent Killer by Dr. Leonard Coldwell. 10. Not convinced that your thoughts can make you sick or heal you. Then read, Anatomy of an Illness as Perceived by the Patient by Norman Cousins, Reflections on Healing and Regeneration. Why Animals Don't Get Heart Attacks, but People Do. The Discovery That Will Eradicate Heart Disease by Matthias Rath, MD. The Natural Prevention of Heart Attacks, Strokes, High Blood Pressure, Diabetes, High Cholesterol, and many other cardiovascular conditions. Oichwurst, The Biology of Hope and Healing Power of the Human Spirit by Norman Cousins. 11. Not convinced that you should never eat any meat or poultry that is not organic? Then read, Slaughterhouse by Gail A. Eisnitz, The Shocking Story of Greed, Neglect, and Inhumane Treatment Inside the U.S. Meat Industry. Mad Cow by Howard F. Lyman with Glenn Mercer, Plain Truth from the Cattle Rancher Who Won't Eat Meat. Prisoned Chickens, Poisoned Eggs by Karen Davis, Ph.D. An Inside Look at the Modern Poultry Business. 12. Not convinced that our food is loaded with chemicals causing illness and disease. Then read, I'm the Chemical Feast by James S. Turner, Ralph Natter's Study Group Report on the Food and Drug Administration. A Chemical Feast by Harding Lariche, a rational common-sense discussion of chemicals in foods by a noted specialist in nutrition and epidemiology. Sowing the Wind by Harrison Welford, a report from Ralph Nader's Center for Study of Responsive Law on Food Safety and the Chemical Harvest. Not convinced that electromagnetic pollution is bombarding your body, causing all kinds of medical problems. Then read, Winter Cross Currents, The Promise of Electromedicine by Robert Doherty. Becker, M.D. Electromagnetic Fields by B. Blake Levitt, A Consumer's Guide to the Issues and How to Protect Ourselves. 14. Not convinced that we all have an energetic field around us that is adversely affected by magnetic pollution? Then read, I'm the Unseen Self by Brian Snellgrove, Kirlian Photography Explained. Kirlian Photography, A Hands-On Guide by John Levine. 15. Not convinced that drugs are poisons and cause most disease? Then read, Overdose: The Case Against the Drug Companies' Prescription Drugs, Side Effects, and Your Health by J.S. Cohen, M.D. Beta Pills. Inside the Hazardous World of Legal Drugs by Stephen Fry. 16. Not convinced that the pharmaceutical industry is purposely selling ineffective, dangerous drugs and working tirelessly to suppress natural, effective cures for disease? Then read, Racketeering in Medicine, The Suppression of Alternatives by James P. Catter, M.D., Ph.D. The Drug Lords, America's Pharmaceutical Cartel by Tonda R. Yun. The Big Fix by Katharine Greider, How the Pharmaceutical Industry Rips Off American Consumers. Eichway, The Assault on Medical Freedom by P.A. Joseph Lisa, Why American Healthcare Costs So Much, Why Disease Mongers, How doctors, drug companies, and insurers are making you feel sick by Lynn Payer. Under the Influence of Modern Medicine by Terry A. Rondberg, D.C. The Social Transformation of American Medicine. The Rise of a Sovereign Profession and the Making of a Vast Industry. Confessions of a Medical Heretic by Robert S. Mendelssohn, M.D. Approximately 2.4 million operations performed every year are unnecessary and cost about 12,000 lives. In 6 New York hospitals, 43% of performed hysterectomies reviewed were found to be unjustified. Historically, when doctors have gone on strike, the mortality rate has dropped. And Medical Blunders by Robert M. Mull, Youngson, and Ian Schott. Amazing true stories of mad, bad, and dangerous doctors. 17. Not convinced that psychiatry, psychology, and all psychiatric drugs hand patients and actually cause depression, suicide, violent acts, and disease? Then read Psychiatry. The Ultimate Betrayal by Bruce Wiseman, Eichbo, Your Drug May Be Your Problem by Peter R. Breggin, M.D. How and Why to Stop Taking Psychiatric Medications. H.E. Talking Back to Ritalin by Peter R. Breggin, M.D. What Doctors Aren't Telling You About Stimulants and ADHD. Talking Back to Prozac by Peter R. Breggin, M.D. What Doctors Aren't Telling You About Today's Most Controversial Drug. The only book that tells you the truth behind its testing and its potentially frightening side effects. And the Antidepressant Fact Book by Peter R. Breggin, M.D. What Your Doctor Won't Tell You About Prozac, Zoloft, Paxil, Celexa, and Luvox. The Myth of Mental Illness by Thomas S. Sass, M.D. Foundations of a Theory of Personal Conduct. Ai Weiwei, The Manufacture of Madness by Thomas S. Sass, M.D. A Comparative Study of the Inquisition and the Mental Health Movement. Why Mad in America by Robert Whitaker. Bad Science, Bad Medicine, and the Enduring Mistreatment of the Mentally Ill. 18. Not convinced that calcium is a nutrient that most people are depleted in. Then read Ein the Calcium Factor. The Scientific Secret of Health and Youth by Robert R. Barefoot and Carl J. Reich, M.D. The Relationship Between Nutrient Deficiency and Disease. 19. Not convinced that if your body pH is alkaline, you can virtually never get sick. Then read Alkalize or Die by Theodore A. Barady, Superior Health Through Proper Alkaline Acid Balance. Dynamic Health by Dr. M. L. Ted Morter, Jr. Using Your Own Beliefs, Thoughts, and Memory to Create a Healthy Body. The Acid Alkaline Diet for Optimum Health by Christopher Vasey. Restore Your Health by Creating Balance in Your Diet. Ideal, The pH Miracle by Robert Zero. Young, Ph.D. and Shelley Redford Young. Balance Your Diet, Reclaim Your Health. 20. Not convinced that magnets can heal, alleviate pain, and cure disease. Then read Magnetherapy by Gloria Vergari. The Gentle and Effective Way to Balance Body Systems. Healing with Magnets by Gary Null, Ph.D. With Reba Koestler. Study on Using Magnets to Treat Pain Surprises Skeptics. New York Times. 21. Not convinced that AIDS is one of the greatest hoaxes and deceptions ever perpetrated on the American public? Then read AIDS by Peter H. Pide, Duesberg, Ph.D., and John Yamuyanis, Ph.D. The good news is HIV doesn't cause it. The bad news is recreational drugs and medical treatments like ASDU. Inventing the AIDS Virus by Peter H. Duesberg, Ph.D. AIDS. What the Government Isn't Telling You by K. Stephen Whiting, Ph.D. Infectious AIDS. Have We Been Misled? By Peter H. Pund, Duesberg, Ph.D. A collection of 13 articles originally published in scientific journals that call into question the dogma of infectious AIDS. The AIDS War by John Lauritsen. Propaganda, Profiteering and Genocide from the Medical-Industrial Complex. Do Insects Transmit AIDS? By Lawrence McKee. Why We Will Never Win the War on AIDS by Brian J. Ellison and Peter H. Duisberg, Ph.D. Greed, power, sex, and politics have combined to create the biggest scam in medical history: AIDS. But now, everything you thought you knew about this deadly epidemic is about to change. 22. Not convinced that your digestive system is absolutely dysfunctional if you live in America? Then read Restoring Your Digestive Health by Jordan S. Rubin N. MD, and Joseph Brasco, MD. How the Guts and Glory program can transform your life. 23. Not convinced that stress, anxiety, and emotional problems can be cured almost instantly? Then read 7 Steps to Overcoming Depression and Anxiety by Gar Null, Ph.D. A Practical Guide to Mental, Physical, and Spiritual Wellness. The Basic Dianetics Picture Book by L. Ron Hubbard. A visual aid to a better understanding of man and the mind, based on the works of L. Ron Hubbard. Scientology Picture Book by L. Ron Hubbard. Use it to understand yourself, life, and those you live with. Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard. The Modern Science of Mental Health. 24. Not convinced that pain in any part of your body can be eliminated easily without drugs or surgery? Then read In Pain Free, An Evolutionary Method for Stopping Chronic Pain by Peter Egoscue, Instant Relief. Tell Me Where It Hurts, and I'll Tell You What to Do by Peggy W. What to Do. Brill, PT. I Am Free at Your PC by Peter Egoscue. Using a computer doesn't have to hurt. Prevent or reverse repetitive stress injuries. Cure carpal tunnel syndrome. End chronic wrist, shoulder, and neck pain. Ease eye strain. Avoid surgery, drugs, and wrist braces. A Natural Relief from Aches and Pains by C.J. Huadanen. Alternatives to over-the-counter medications for many conditions. 25. Not convinced that women are being exploited by the medical establishment? Then read In the Politics of Stupid by Susan Powter. Lose the weight you want to lose forever. 1. Hormone replacement therapy. Yes or no? By Betty Kamen, Ph.D. How to make an informed decision about estrogen, progesterone, and other strategies for dealing with PMS, menopause, and osteoporosis. The Alternative Medicine Guide to Women's Health by Burton Goldberg. Clinically Proven Alternative Therapies for Relief from Women's Health Conditions. Och. Male Practice. How Doctors Manipulate Women by Robert S. Y. Mendelssohn, MD. 26. Not convinced that tap water containing fluoride, chlorine, and other contaminants is a major cause of illness and disease? Then read Fluoride, The Aging Factor by John Yamuyanis, Ph.D. How to recognize and avoid the devastating effects of fluoride. Find out who's profiting from the chronic poisoning of over 130 million Americans. In Your Body's Many Cries for Water by F. Batman Helage, MD. You're not sick, you are thirsty. Don't treat thirst with medications. A preventive and self-education manual for those who prefer to adhere to the logic of the natural and the simple in medicine. Drink the Water by Lono Kahuna Kupuahoala. The Essential Guide to Our Contaminated Drinking Water and What You Can Do About It. Water, The Foundation of Youth, Health, and Beauty by William D. Holloway, Jr. and Herb Joyner B., N.D. And The Water We Drink by Joshua L. Barzilay, M.D. Winkler G., Weinberg, M.D., and J. William Ellie, M.D. Water Quality and Its Effects on Health. On Why the Drinking Water Book by Colin Ingram, A Complete Guide to Safe Drinking Water. There's nothing more important than the quality of the water that you drink. Water, for health, for healing, for life by F. Batman Helage, M.D. You're not sick, you're thirsty. You always knew water was good for you. Now discover why it's nature's miracle. Water Wasteland by David Zwick with Marcy Benstock. Ralph Nader's Study Group Report on Water Pollution. 27. Not convinced that arthritis can be eliminated without any drugs or surgery. Then read Arthritis Defeated at Last. The Real Arthritis Cure by Len Sands, ND, PhD, ARP. The amazing story of CMO, nature's revolutionary immunomodulator that rectifies the cause of arthritis forever. Arthritis Beaten Today. By Len Sands, ND, PhD, ACRP. A revolutionary, new, natural, dietary supplement that is restoring the quality of life of people suffering from arthritis, as well as other chronic autoimmune diseases. The CMO story is a scientific breakthrough that has been described as the nutritional discovery of the 20th century. 28. Not convinced that rebounding exercises strengthen every cell in the body and bring vibrant health and weight loss. Then read Looking Good, Feeling Great by Carol Kuhn Truman. 15 minutes a day to a new you. An easy, fun way to tone your figure, improve health, and develop total fitness. Rebounding to Better Health by Linda Brooks. A practical guide to the ultimate exercise. Urban Rebounding. No. An exercise for the new millennium by J.B. Burns. The system known as urban rebounding brings together the science of the West and the philosophy and practicality of the East to form a holistic program of exercise in which people of all ages, sizes, shapes, and states of physical condition can participate. Harry and Sarah Snyder's Olympic Trainer by Harry and Sarah Snyder. The world's finest. Improves gripping, throwing, jumping, kicking, sprinting, skiing, skating, stamina, depth perception, balance, coordination, body alignment, and endurance. 29. Not convinced that the FDA is purposely suppressing natural cures for diseases and allows drug manufacturers to sell ineffective and dangerous drugs? Then read Innocent Casualties, The FDA's War Against Humanity by Elaine Feuer. Stop the FDA. Save Your Health Freedom by Stephen Fowkes, editor. Discover the FDA's hidden agenda. Learn how to improve your health with supplements. Discover the real reasons the FDA banned tryptophan. Find out how the FDA suppresses medical breakthroughs. Learn the true value of nutritional medicine. By Robert Higgs, FDA Regulation of Healthcare Products. IHP, Protecting America's Health, the FDA, Business, and 100 Years of Regulation. A History of a Crime Against the Food Law, by Philip J. Hiltz, The Amazing Story of the National Food and Drugs Law Intended to Protect the Health of the People, Perverted to Protect Adulteration of Foods and Drugs. 30. Not convinced that using oxygen can reverse aging, speed healing, and potentially cure many diseases? Then read You Flood Your Body with Oxygen by Ed McCabe, Mr. Watt. Oxygen, Therapy for Our Polluted World. Stop aging or slow the process. Exercise with Oxygen Therapy, EWIT, Can Help by William Campbell Douglas II, MD. Oxygen Healing Therapies by Nathaniel Altman. For optimum health and vitality, Biooxidative Therapies for Treating Immune Disorders, Candida, Cancer, Heart, Skin, Circulatory, and other modern diseases. Not convinced that yoga has absolutely amazing health benefits? Then read Ancient Secret of the Fountain of Youth by Peter Kelder. Can 5 ancient Tibetan rites really make you look and feel years younger? The Secret of Youthful Health and Vitality. In Bikram's Beginning Yoga Class by Bikram Choudhury with Bonnie Jones Reynolds. Classic Illustrated Yoga Guide. Power Yoga by Beryl Bender Birch. The Total Strength and Flexibility Workout. 32. Not convinced that you can eliminate phobias, traumas, addictions, and compulsions in as little as 5 minutes? Then read Tapping the Healer Within by Roger J. Callahan, Ph.D. with Richard Trubo. For additional information, go to www.tappingthehealerwithin.com. tftake.com. Using thought field therapy to instantly conquer your fears, anxieties, and emotional distress. 33. Not convinced that herbal remedies can potentially cure many diseases. Then read Next Generation Herbal Medicine by Daniel B. Mowry, Ph.D. Guaranteed Potency Herbs. Erie Herbal Tonic Therapies by Daniel B. Mowry, Ph.D. Remedies from nature's own pharmacy to strengthen and support each vital body system. Oebal Herbal Healing, an easy-to-use AZ reference by Phyllis A. Balch. Tut. 34. Not convinced that homeopathic medicines are a safe natural alternative to drugs and surgery, and can cure disease and keep you healthy? Then read Everybody's Guide to Homeopathic Medicines by Stephen Cummings, MD, and Dana Ullman, MPH. Safe and effective remedies for you and your family. Homeopathy is a natural, safe, inexpensive, and highly effective complement to conventional medicine. And the Complete Homeopathy Handbook by Miranda Castro. Safe and effective ways to treat fevers, coughs, colds, and sore throats, childhood ailments, food poisoning, flu, and a wide range of everyday complaints. Not convinced that fibromyalgia can be eliminated naturally? Then read A Fibromyalgia Relief Handbook by Chet Cunningham. Gives a full explanation of fibromyalgia, in plain English, and why so many people suffer from it, how to get relief from fibromyalgia symptoms, and more. This book is of vital importance to anyone suffering symptoms of fibromyalgia. 36. Not convinced that there are natural remedies for virtually every disease? Then read A Cure for All Diseases by Hulda Reger Clark, Ph.D., ND. New research findings show that all diseases have simple explanations and cures once their true cause is known. Encyclopedia of Natural Medicine by Michael Murray, ND. And Joseph Pizzorno, ND. Still not convinced? 333. Watch Health and Nutrition Secrets That Can Save Your Life by Russell L. Blaylock, MD. Harness your body's natural healing powers. DWelly, the Natural Physician's Healing Therapies. Proven Remedies That Medical Doctors Don't Know About by Mark Stengler, ND. Alternative Medicine. The Definitive Guide by Burton Goldberg, OHW, The Most Common Diseases, and Their Alternative Natural Therapies by Alex Duarter, OD, PhD. The Most Effective Natural Medicines in the World by Alex Duarter, OD, PhD. 37. Not convinced that you never have to get sick? Then read You Can Be. Well, at any age, Your Definitive Guide to Vibrant Health and Longevity by K. Stephen Whiting, Ph.D. For those seeking to ensure not only the maximum number of years to their lives, but the best possible quality to those years as well. How to Get Well, Handbook of Natural Healing by Paavo Airola, Ph.D. Proven effective solutions to your health problems, whatever they may be. An authoritative and practical manual on the most common ailments, and what you can do about them by a world-famous authority on nutrition and natural healing. Death by Diet by Robert B. Barefoot Amy, The Food Revolution by John Robbins. How your diet can help save your life and our world. 38. Not convinced that proper deep breathing is one of the most important and beneficial things you can do? Then read A Superpower, Breathing for Super Energy, High Health and Longevity by Paul C. Bragg, ND. And Patricia Bragg, ND, PhD. Live longer, healthier, stronger with every breath. Empower yourself. Stimulate your body's natural healing and brain power. Energize Yourself 39. Simple exercises for a vibrant, energized body. Relax Yourself 35. Calming effects of a healthier, fitter body. 39. Not convinced that your liver absolutely, positively is clogged, congested, and needs cleansing, potentially curing a host of illnesses including allergies, diabetes, and irritable bowel syndrome? Then read The Liver Cleansing Diet by Dr. Sandra Cabot, MD. Love your liver and live longer. The Amazing Liver Cleanse by Andreas Moritz. A powerful approach to improve your health and vitality. The Healthy Liver and Bowel Book by Dr. Sandra Cabot, MD. Detoxification strategies for your liver and bowel. Life-saving strategies for those with many health problems, including liver disease, bowel problems, and weight excess. 40. Not convinced that there is an all-natural cure for diabetes, and that the pharmaceutical industry offered $30 to take it off the market? Then read On the Natural Diabetes Solution by Richard Laliberte and Pat Harper, 41. Not convinced that juicing is absolutely needed if you want to get the proper nutrition your body needs. Then read Ina Juice Ladies Juicing for High-Level Wellness and Vibrant Good Looks by Sherry Kalbum, MS. Ina Juice Ladies Guide to Juicing for Health by Sherry Kalbum, MS. Unleashing the Healing Power of Whole Fruits and Vegetables. A practical A to Z guide to the prevention and treatment of the most common health disorders. The Ultimate Smoothie Book. Whip up 101 elixirs, cordials, tinctures, and teas to boost immunity and enhance well-being. By Sherry Kalbum, MS. With the Joy of Juicing by Gary Null, PhD. Creative Cooking with Your Juicer. 150 imaginative, healthful juicing recipes for drinks, soups, salads, sauces, entrees, and desserts. Mauer Juices Super Drinks by Steve Meyerowitz. Quick, delicious recipes to prevent and reverse disease. 42. Not convinced that juice fasting is the most effective way to lose weight, cleanse the body of impurities, increase energy, and stimulate the immune system? Then read Juice Fasting and Detoxification by Steve Meyerowitz. Use the healing power of fresh juice to feel young and look great. The fastest way to restore your health. Bragg, ND, and Patricia Bragg, ND, PhD. Proven throughout history for physical, mental, and spiritual rejuvenation. 43. Not convinced that colon cleansing is absolutely, positively needed by every single person, and that doing so can alleviate illness and disease, increase metabolism, and potentially slow or reverse aging. Then read Cleanse and Purify Thyself, and I Will Exalt Thee to the Throne of Power by Richard Anderson, ND, NMD. Highly effective intestinal cleansing removes pounds of disease-causing toxins and disease-causing negative emotions. Avoid the detox diet, the how-to and when to guide for cleansing the body of chemicals, toxins, sugar, caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, and more by Elson M. Haas, MD. A How to Cleanse and Detoxify Your Body Today by Elson M. Haas, MD. Finally, you can look and feel better. A body freer of toxins, mucus, acids, dead cells, and all irritants is stronger, healthier, and more vital. Internal Cleansing by Linda Berry, DC, CN. Rid your body of toxins to naturally and effectively fight heart disease, chronic pain, fatigue, PMS and menopause symptoms, aging, frequent colds, and flu, food allergies. Features delicious, all-natural vegetarian recipes. 44. Not convinced that toxins lodge in the fatty tissue of the body and absolutely are causing a host of physical and mental problems and must be cleansed. Then read Clear Body, Clear Mind by L. Ron Hubbard, The Effective Purification Program. OI Purification, An Illustrated Answer to Drugs by L. Ron Hubbard. Go to www.purification.org for additional information. Drugs cause the death of consciousness and awareness, and eventually of the body itself. If you value the ability to think clearly, emotional stability, and a positive attitude about yourself, then purification. An illustrated answer to drugs is your answer. 45. Not convinced that proper diet can potentially cure illness and lead to vibrant health and wellness. Then read The 7 Steps to Perfect Health by Gary Null, PhD. A practical guide to mental, physical, and spiritual wellness. Weight Healing System by Donald Lepore. The illustrated guide to muscle testing and nutrition. A breakthrough in nutrition, kinesiology, and holistic healing techniques. Idiot for a New America by John Robbins. How your food choices affect your health, happiness, and the future of life on Earth. Ultimate Lifetime Diet by Gary Null, PhD. A revolutionary all-natural program for losing weight and building a healthy body. Official know-it-all guide to health and wellness by Dr. Men. Ted Morter, Jr. Your absolute quintessential, all you wanted to know, complete guide to wellness, disease prevention, and nutrition. Still not convinced? 337 Weight Living Well, Taking Care of Your Health in the Middle, and Later Years by James F.T. Freeze. Easy-to-use decision charts quickly show how to treat problems yourself and when to see a doctor. 46 Doherty 6. Not convinced that energy exists and energy healing absolutely works? Then read The Healing Energy of Your Hands by Michael Bradford. Demystifies the art of healing, beginning with a basic explanation of the nature of healing energy, illness, and the role of the mind in the healing process. Offers techniques so simple that anyone, even a child, can work with healing energy. Quantum Touch. The Power to Heal by Richard Gordon. Quantum Touch represents a major breakthrough in the art of hands-on healing. Whether you are a complete novice, a professional chiropractor, physical therapist, body worker, healer, or other health professional, Quantum Touch allows you a dimension of power in your work that heretofore had not seemed possible. Wheels of Light, Chakras, Auras, and the Healing Energy of the Body by Rosalind L. Hell. Bruyere explores the 7 chakras or energy centers of the body with particular focus on the first chakra, which has to do with our basic life force, our physical bodies, and our sexuality. 48. Not convinced that hydrogenated oil and trans fats cause heart disease and a whole host of medical problems. Then read Trans Fats, The Food Industry's Way of Giving You a Heart Attack by Judith Shaw. 49. Not convinced that eating lots of raw organic fruits and vegetables can give you dynamic health? The read Raw Foods, The Key to Eternal Youth by Gary Null, PhD. 54. Not convinced that watching too much television causes the body to become acidic, leading to disease? Then read A4 Arguments for the Elimination of Television by Jerry Mander. 55. Not convinced that lack of smiles, love, hugs, and affection can cause illness and a host of emotional disorders? Then read The Medical Consequences of Loneliness. Not convinced that your words, what you say and how you say it, have a powerful impact on your health and success? Then read You Should. How Habits of Language Shape Our Lives by Rebecca Smith. What You Say. What You Say is What You Get by Don Gossett. Lie Down. A Creative Force by Charles Capp. 57. Not convinced that writing things down causes them to happen? Then read Write It Down, Make It Happen by Henriette Ann Clauser. 58. Not convinced that the super rich are greedy and corrupt beyond belief? Then read I'm Perfectly Rich. 59. Not convinced that you can easily live to be over 100 years old, never get sick, and that virtually everything I'm saying in this book is true? Then read How Long Do You Choose to Live? A Question of a Lifetime by Peter Ragnar. Imagine never needing another doctor again, having more athletic ability at 70 than you had at 17, perfect mental recall, and eternal youth. If the author can show you that these are more than wishful claims, that would interest you, wouldn't it? Read this book. Honoring Power Aging by Gary Null, Ph.D. In The 100 Simple Secrets of Healthy People by David Nivenwich, Bopping the Clock by Ronald Klatz and Robert Goldman. Dramatic Breakthroughs in Anti-Aging and Age Reversal Techniques. Rowe, M.D. and Robert L. Kahn, Ph.D. Learn the surprising results of the MacArthur Foundation study, the most extensive, comprehensive study on aging in America. Find out how the way you live, not the genes you were born with, determines health and vitality. And the Okinawa Program by Bradley J. Wilcox, M.D., Craig Wilcox, Ph.D., and Makoto Suzuki, M.D. How the world's longest-lived people achieve everlasting health, and how you can too. When on my own at 107. Reflections on Life Without Bessie by Sarah L.L. Delaney with Amy Hill Hearth. Sarah Sadie Delaney's tribute to Bessie, her beloved younger sister and century-long companion who died at age 104. Having our say, The Delaney Sisters' First 100 Years by Sarah L. Dell. Delaney and A. Elizabeth Delaney with Amy Hill Hearth. The Delaney Sisters on Family, Marriage, Taxes, and Life. Living to 100 by Thomas T. Pearls, M.D., M.P.H., and Marjorie Hutter Silver, ed. D. With John F. Lauerman. Lessons in Living to Your Maximum Potential at Any Age. Centenarians. The Bonus Years by Lynn Peters Alder, J.D. The book addresses the social and health needs of both the centenarian and their families or caretakers. If I Live to Be 100 by Nina Ellis. Lessons from the Centenarians. This is a beautifully written and elegantly wise work that takes us inside the world of the very old and invites us to learn from them firsthand the art of living well for an exceptionally long period of time. On Being 100 by Lane Enkelis, 31 centenarians share their extraordinary lives and wisdom. Centenarians by Dale Richard Perelman, 100 100-year-olds who made a difference. 60. Still not convinced that it's always all about the money, and corruption is permeating corporations and government in America and around the world? Then read, Conspiracy of Fools. A True Story by Kurt Eichenwald, The Informant. A True Story by Kurt Eichenwald. I Serpent on the Rock by Kurt Eichenwald. You Serpent on the Rock. Crime, Betrayal, and the Terrible Secrets of Prudential Bachi by Kurt Eichenwald. By Kurt Eichenwald. In the Grain, The Supermarket to the World by James B. Labor We Funny Money by Mark Singer.